Diving into Chapter 2, titled Mastering Crucial Conversations, The Power of Dialogue, I could almost hear a drum roll. Alex, this chapter is where the authors reveal the big secret sauce, dialogue, which they define as the free flow of meaning between two or more people. I love that image of a free flow of meaning. It's like both people are openly putting their ideas into a shared pool rather than butting heads or hiding thoughts.
Yes, the idea is that when everyone shares what they really thinks and feels safe to do so, you get a richer pool of information. That leads to better decisions and stronger relationships. The chapter actually starts with a cool story. Remember Kevin, the one gutsy VP? The team's CEO, Chris, had suggested a terrible office relocation plan. Everyone else went silent, basically ready to roll over. But Kevin calmly spoke up and said, "Hey boss, can I check something with you?" He respectfully called out that Chris's decision seemed to violate their own guidelines, basically hinting, "I think you're pushing this because it's your hometown."
And the room gasped, right? I was holding my breath reading that, but incredibly, Chris, the CEO, actually listened. Kevin managed to be 100% candid and 100% respectful. Chris realized Kevin was right, admitted it, and they chose a better office location in the end. What a win-win! Kevin didn't have to choose between speaking up and making an enemy or staying silent and watching a bad decision. He found a way to speak the truth while maintaining respect.
Exactly. That's the power of dialogue in action. Kevin avoided what the authors call the fool's choice, the false binary, that it's either tonder or kindness, truth or friend. Instead, he achieved both. He told the truth and kept the relationship intact. In fact, his boss ended up appreciating him more for it.
It's inspiring. The chapter uses Kevin's story to drive home that dialogue is the path to handling high-stakes disagreements. But Alex, I noticed something. When others confronted the CEO, he got defensive and people backed off. Kevin succeeded because he did something differently. He spoke up without making Chris feel attacked. Chapter 2 starts unpacking that difference.
Yes, they highlight that skilled people make it safe for everyone to add their meaning to the shared pool. When folks feel unsafe, maybe they think you'll humiliate or ignore them, they clam up or blow up. In Chris's case, as soon as he felt challenged, he bristled and people sensed, uh-oh, danger. So they shut down. Kevin, however, spoke in a way that maintained safety. He showed respect and signaled, "I'm not your enemy here." As a result, Chris could actually hear him out.
Safety. That's huge. We'll get much more on that in later chapters, I know. Another cool concept here is the shared pool of meaning. Picture in any discussion, there's a mental pool, the info, opinions, and feelings contributed by everyone. The more people share openly, the more accurate and relevant that pool becomes. And if you have a rich shared pool, you're more likely to make good decisions everyone commits to.
On the flip side, if people withhold meaning, maybe hiding their real concerns, you're basically making decisions with a half-empty pool. Not good. Chapter 2 points out that in many companies or families, people don't speak up honestly. They either choose silence, withholding their opinions, or violence, forcing their opinions aggressively. Both approaches, silence and verbal violence, are games we play when we don't know how to stay in dialogue.
They even give funny names like salute and stay mute, when you just politely nod but keep your true thoughts to yourself. Or the opposite, verbal violence, which could be anything from snide sarcasm to shouting. I laughed at the examples but also winced because I've done a bit of both. Sometimes I've bitten my tongue in a meeting, silence. Other times I've pushed too hard to prove a point, verbal force. Both killed real dialogue.
Same here. The authors stress that dialogue skills can be learned. It's not some innate talent only a few have. They observed folks like Kevin for years and distilled what these dialogue masters do. And guess what? It's not magic. It's techniques and principles anyone can practice. That's encouraging.
Chapter 2 then lays out the roadmap for the rest of the book. I remember it said something like, first, work on yourself. That's part I, things like choosing the right topic, getting your motives right, managing emotions. Then part 2 is about how to express yourself effectively, opening your mouth with safety, using specific speaking skills, and how to listen to others. Finally, part 3 is about taking action and solving tough cases.
Yes, they outline a kind of flow. Before you even talk, Get your head and heart in the right place. Then when you speak, state your views in a persuasive but not abrasive way. We'll learn about the state method in Chapter 8 and invite others to share theirs in Chapter 9. And if things derail, learn how to make it safe again in Chapter 7. It's cool because it's a systematic approach to something that often feels chaotic, a heated conversation.
I appreciate that structure. One more key lesson from Chapter 2. The authors emphasize that opting out is not a good strategy. They say at the heart of many failures, in relationships, in organizations, are the crucial conversations we're either not holding or not holding well. So if you think, maybe I should just avoid this topic, remember that avoidance has its own cost. In fact, they have that motto, if you don't talk it out, you will act it out, which we already discussed. Avoidance often leads to festering issues or passive-aggressive behavior.
The chapter kind of gave me a pep talk. Don't choose the fool's choice, silence or violence. There's always a dialogue option. People like Kevin refuse to believe I have to shut up or blow up. They look for an and solution. How can I be honest and respectful? It's a mindset shift. Dialogue is always an option, even if it's hard. That's empowering.
Absolutely. So, to summarize Chapter 2 in our own conversational terms, it shows us why dialogue, genuine, safe, two-way exchange, is so powerful. A single, honest conversation, handled well, can save a company from a bad decision or save a relationship from years of resentment. The chapter leaves us with a promise that the rest of the book will break down how to create that kind of dialogue even when emotions run high and stakes are big.
And I was pumped. The real techniques are coming next, but already I was reflecting, where have I been choosing silence or harsh confrontation? How could I replace that with dialogue? Even asking that question feels like progress.
Same. Chapter 2 definitely made me a believer in the mission of this book. Coming up next, Chapter 3 will tackle a surprisingly tricky issue, figuring out what to talk about. It's called Choose Your Topic, and trust me, sometimes we're arguing about one thing when the real issue is something entirely different. Ready to explore that?
You bet. Let's jump into how to pinpoint the right conversation to hold so we don't spin our wheels on the wrong problem.